Welcome to SAT TV News. I am Larry Larrock, your presenter. In our top stories, promoter for Saving Souls concert arrested. 4 killed in Guyana shooting rampage, including 2 policemen. China to ease one-child policy and abolish labor camps. And in sports, Cupchi's Barbershop Bath Estate secure another win. Details of these will follow. Welcome back. Proprietor of the Jungle Bay Resort and Spa, Mr. Sam Raphael, has taken up an initiative to aid the DHTA, Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association, in its attempt to improve air access to Dominica by introducing a new aircraft carrier. The Hummingbird Air is anticipated to be inaugurated into the country's flight plans in the near future. The new aircraft is expected to land in Kenfield, Dominica over the weekend and is geared at reducing flight delays and setbacks of travelers to Dominica.
This is a great local move which will give Dominica some air to breathe. First, as a replacement of coastal air flights to and from St. Croix, but it will also allow regular connections to and from St. Thomas. They plan on trying to add later St. Martin and Barbados if the appropriate route rights are granted.
Mr. Nizad commended the initiative, although the DHTA regrets that such energy and investments have not been dedicated to set up an OECS or CARICOM approved scheduled airline. He believes that business owners need to stray away from this Santa Claus way of doing business and focus on a much needed local airline.
We need our own locally owned and operated regional airline. A simple, well-managed and efficient operation allowing Dominica to pick up its passengers in 2 or 3 Caribbean hubs with 12 to 19-seater aircrafts and fly the Dominican flag throughout the Caribbean basin. We think the best option to solve our air access problem is to be able to say to the market, you want to come to Dominica, fly to St. Lucia or St. Martin. You'll meet our aircrafts there.
The DHTA is working to engage partners, more specifically existing airlines, to guide some of its basic operational requirements in the first instance. The organization will also continue to embark on air and sea access improvement strategies here in Dominica. In other news, controversy stirred the regular operations of a local radio station on the morning of Friday, November 15th, following a heated confrontation on a local talk show between the promoter of the Saving Souls concert, Mr. Cornelius Thomas, who is also the president of the Committee for Good Movement, and investigative journalist Mr. Carly John Baptist. This occurred when the reporter alleged that Mr. Thomas was a fraudster, revealing through an article from a Grenada newspaper that he, who also organized a Saving Souls concert in that country, allegedly fled with $100,000 of the ticket money. Things only got more heated for Mr. Thomas, who was confronted by the owner of a guest house, who claimed that he owed him a balance of $900.
Good night. On the 4th of October, you decided you wanted to stay here for 25 nights at 100 EC, which would be bringing you up to October 29th. Okay, so we're talking about the festival time. So I tell him that as of today, you paid 20 nights, which ends tonight. I cannot accommodate you upstairs, because I actually can put the man upstairs in my home, where my family is, other than my business, just to accommodate him. So last week he gave me some change. You understand? He gave me 180 euro. And then he gave me another 300 EC to balance. He came up to 918. You understand? So then I tell him for the week of the Friday, he have 900. He says it's okay. You understand what I'm saying? Last night now, I passed him home. I said, let me stop and take a look at the apartment. Nothing, not there. So immediately I go to the Maho police and make a report.
Mr. Dawe stated, although he and Mr. Thomas agreed to a price, when contacted by the investigating officer, Mr. Thomas said he was being overcharged, an allegation Mr. Dawe denied.
And I'm not even focusing just about the amount of the money, but I check in, I have an agreement with you, I speak to you, I put my confidence in you, and then you just run out, take my key and go. You understand? For all the communicators to communicate and you're just not answering, or you're just not responding. And then I know now, from what I understand from we church, Today is Friday, and it's on Fridays the boat does go back to St. Lucia. So that is why I'm making it an issue. Because if he leave, you understand, we have to, that cannot be encouraged. I pray for you to tell me next time when I come back, you know, he will settle with me. And I'll say, okay, doctor, or next time tell me in advance.
However, Mr. Thomas said the agreement was for $500 weekly accommodation at Mr. Daway's guest house, which he stayed for 4 weeks. According to him, his last payment was made on Wednesday, November 13th, but he was not given a receipt. The promoter alleged that a police officer from the Mao police station attempted to trick him into believing he wanted to purchase tickets for the show, but when this did not work, he identified himself as a police officer, saying he was investigating a report made against him.
Listen to the mathematics. The man tell me when I pay him Wednesday, between Wednesday and Friday, I will have another $600 or $900 for him, right? So I don't agree to that. You understand what I'm saying? So if I had to pay you $900 or $600, you want me to leave the ski home and go? Really? And still pay you? So what I'm paying for? You understand what I'm saying? What I'm paying for? By right, you come for money. Today, Friday. You say by up to today, I have to pay about $600 for the extended time. Right? What you want me to do with the key? You want me to leave it there? You want me to leave it there and still when they come meet me get $600, I Santa Claus?
In terms of the original negotiation, what was the total and what length
it was
of time
$500 a week.
For what
a
length
week
of
is
time?
5 days, right? Because it was Monday to Friday. $500, right? It didn't include no Saturday and no Sunday. You understand what I'm saying? So basically, when I do so now and I start to pay the man now, the man start to try to, it's basically extortion. Because the maths the man working is not right.
The show promoter said, as it relates to the alleged theft of $100,000 in Grenada, this is simply false and is an attempt to tarnish his name and business.
These people dig up a story to try to crash Vision Mitchell concert tonight, to save a concert November 30th. My driver and me went by Voice of Life. Before I could talk to Clementina Monroe, the woman tell me she not advertising for me. When I asked you why, she said she was watching a TV program and see the ad with Voice of Life still in it. So I tell the woman it's not my fault. I sure your superiors tell you about that story. You understand me? And so I call the woman who fly out and I tell her, I say, talk to this lady. The woman says she don't want to hear nothing. You understand me? I say if you incriminate me with facts. You understand me? Don't come and tell me that you don't want to do nothing because of this, but when I know it's not that. You understand me? I know the real fact is them Vex Vision coming to the place and them trying to do everything in their power to stop the man from coming here and create a problem so that they can have a real story to tell the people. I tell all the Vision Mitchell wasn't coming, blah 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 blah.
On a more positive note, Chelsea Dion Frampton has been marked as the fourth individual who has been called to the bar for the year 2013. The swearing-in took place at the High Court of Justice on Thursday, November 14th, where Miss Frampton stood before Justice Bernie Stevenson. Chelsea Frampton, daughter of Julian Paul Frampton, began her studies at the University of the West Indies Cavell campus in Barbados and graduated with a bachelor's degree in law with honors. She then went on to pursue further studies at the Woodin Law School in Trinidad. Joan Prevost, Chelsea's aunt, described her niece as a very mature and special individual from childhood.
She displays a maturity and an understanding of the law. We were even surprised at that she was so mature in her approach to the law. And so as I said, Chelsea is very well behaved. I know she's also involved, whatever her church is doing, she's always involved with the youth activities in her church, the Anglican Church. And so we have her observed her character and have no hesitation in telling you that she is of impeccable character and she will uphold the dignity of the profession and her duties to the client and the court, as Ms. Roberts emphasized.
Attorney at law Mary Roberts also expressed confidence in the character and capabilities of Miss Frampton.
I can with all certainty and without any contradiction state that in addition to academic qualifications, Ms. Frampton qualifies and has certain qualities which can only hold her in good stead as she joins this legal profession. Relating The fact that Ms. Frampton displays qualities of integrity, discipline, honesty, and respect for all persons, and no accident, I am sure that it must have been inculcated in her from birth by her parents, who themselves display such attributes.
Ms. Frampton, upon taking her oath, said that her 5 years of study was finally worth the accomplishment. She believes that this day marked the beginning of her life as an attorney at law.
As a new member of the bar, I intend to seek guidance from you, my lord, and from those who are more experienced in the profession. For one thing, I have learned through my internship, being a successful attorney at law cannot be done in isolation. Networking and mentoring are key to my success and being the best attorney at law I can be. My lady, I hope to be a force of reform and modernization of our laws, in keeping with the social and economic environment of our country. Central to this, I believe, is the need for integration of alternative dispute resolution within our law firms, and the move towards the mandatory use of alternative dispute resolution.
Ms. Frampton acknowledged her mentors and supporters throughout her journey, attorneys Mary Roberts and Joan Prevost, her parents, brother Gareth, and friends. Meanwhile, Justice Bernie Stevenson urged her to remember that she is the advocate and not the participant in matters before the court. In more news, Minister of Tourism and Legal Affairs Honorable Ian Douglas says he's very confident with the new DPP, Director of Public Prosecution, Ms. Evelina Baptiste. Ms. Baptiste was appointed DPP on November 1, 2013 to replace Mr. Jean Pestina, who retired from the post in July 2013. Mr. Douglas noted Ms. Baptiste was the only person who applied for the post, aside from Guyanese national Mr. Kurt de Freitas, who withdrew after being accepted for comments made about him by certain individuals in Dominica. Following this unexpected twist, Ms. Baptiste was then selected.
Ms. Baptiste has several years as a practicing attorney on the bench. Actually, she was Chief Magistrate immediately past before she came into the post of DPP, so I don't see what the difficulty would be.
Okay, in terms of Mr. Douglas noted, although she is the first female DPP in the history of Dominica, she is well qualified to get the job done. One must be a qualified attorney at law with 7 years legal practice and possess a certificate of legal education to qualify for the post of DPP.
Because it's a constitutional position, there is the law, the Supreme Court have held that technically you cannot really have a DPP on contract, because you cannot really fetter a DPP by contract. Once a DPP holds a position, it's almost like they hold it for life until they reach the age of retirement, or for some other reason of misconduct, or they are unable to perform the functions of the office, then they may be replaced. But technically it's not a position that the Supreme Court advises that can be put on contract, since they feel that a contract would give the government a certain leverage over the DPP, which really the Constitution didn't contemplate.
Given Ms. Baptiste's wealth of experience, he said, he is of the view that she will excel at the position. In more stories, promoter of the Saving Souls concert, Mr. Cornelius Thomas, who is the president of the Committee for Good Movement, was arrested on the morning of Friday, November 15th. Mr. Thomas, who is responsible for the Saving Souls concert that was to take place at the Newtown Savannah on Friday, November 15th at 8 p.m., was confronted by 3 police officers from the Criminal Investigation Department, CID. They informed him that he was being arrested on suspicion of theft. Police Public Relations Officer Inspector John Carbon says Mr. Thomas is being questioned for allegedly passing bad checks, meaning writing checks with the knowledge that the checking account does not have sufficient funds. One of the institutions Mr. Thomas allegedly attempted to pass a bad check was HHV Research Travel Agency. Financial controller of HHV Research and Company Limited, Mr. Fabrice Valmont, stated alarms were raised when Mr. Thomas attempted to pay for travel arrangements amounting $48,000 via personal check for the headline artist of the Saving Souls concert, Mr. Vershawn Mitchell. He said the company's policy is that all personnel checks must be cleared and there is a 5-day grace period for all travel arrangements, but Mr. Thomas attempted to make the arrangement on Wednesday, November 13th for Thursday, November 14th, which is too soon. Mr. Thomas was also placed under the microscope as he's a foreigner representing a new company.
But this check you can cash in anywhere in Dominica.
Thanks.
Yeah, you will never bounce. All right?
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care.
You two have just witnessed the signing of the loan agreement between the government of Dominica, represented by the DNPC, Dominica National Petroleum Company Limited, and NDFD, the National Development Foundation of Dominica. The $5 million loan agreement will be used to boost small enterprises on the island as a support unit for extended job creation.
As we are well aware, given the challenges being experienced as a result of the global financial crisis, the government of Dominica has been exploring and adopting creative ways in an effort to continue the effective implementation of the Public Sector Investment Program, that's the PSIP, which is aimed at improving the quality of life of all Dominicans.
Through the DNPC, the government has made significant improvements including water, housing and transportation towards economic and social programs being implemented in Dominica. Honorable John Colin McIntyre, Minister for Employment, Trade Ministry and Diaspora Affairs says, this investment indicates government's continued support for small businesses.
We have received in excess of 3,814 applications in the small business support unit. And to date, we have processed 1,281 who have received financial assistance. Out of that, 564 of them were males and 717 were females. This is a government that is quite balanced, as you can see here, and will continue to provide the support for our people, our females for sure, in terms of those who vend, those who assist us, those who assist this country. In terms of generating employment, we must say to them that there's a hand in the small business support unit and a further hand from the government of Dominica.
Meanwhile, Honorable Reginald Austri, Minister for Land, Housing, Settlement and Water Resource Management says the Skerrit-led administration is giving practical solutions.
We here, in a very practical manner, looking for practical solutions to confront the challenges that are facing our young people in particular. The issue of unemployment is a global issue. In fact, just sometime this week, the European Union countries were meeting in Germany to have a conference to discuss how to deal with the 6 million young people that are employed in Europe, in the United States. And even closer home, those of us who have relatives overseas, we know how tough and how difficult it is. And tackling the problem is a major issue for all those regions and all those countries.
This is no different for Dominica, he said, noting, however, that the government remains active in seeking resolutions for the present unemployment epidemic. According to the minister, the work the government has completed in terms of infrastructure and streetlights is in an effort to attract business investors and to prepare persons for a period when we get over the hurdle. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, along with Chairman of the NDFD, Mr. Oliver Henderson, and Felix Gregoire, Ambassador of Dominica to CARICOM and the OECS, signed the agreement on Thursday, November 14, 2013. In more stories, one young man from the community of Bioche allegedly committed suicide on Thursday, November 14, 2013. Reports are that 21-year-old Cletus Joseph was found hanging from a rope on his parents' porch at 8 p.m. that day. Joseph is also said to have a 1-year-old daughter. Further details are not available. However, SAT-TV will provide an update as soon as more information becomes available. Police are investigating the matter. In other news, 2 men are in police custody following a drug raid in the community of Portsmouth on Thursday, November 14th. Police seized 40 kilos of alleged cocaine. Investigations continue. Good evening, we're here with Acting Chief Youth Development Officer Mr. John Roach, who is going to enlighten us as it relates to Youth Week and Global Entrepreneurship, which starts on Sunday, November 17th. Mr. Roach, could you give us an idea of some of the activities that will take place on Sunday and throughout the celebration of Youth Week and Global Entrepreneurship?
Okay, let me say thank you for having me on your program, and a pleasant good evening to our audience. Youth Week this year, in fact, the Dominica Youth Business Trust has been observing Global Entrepreneurship Week since 2010. But we decided this year that we are going to join with the Dominica Youth Business Trust and include Youth Week, because it's a number of years that the Youth Development Division has not celebrated Youth Week. Usually in the past, or traditionally, that we would celebrate Youth Week in the month of December, but since Global Entrepreneurship Week falls in the third week in November, we decided to join with the Dominica Youth Business Trust, and the Dominica Youth Business Trust is the official host for Global Entrepreneurship Week in Dominica. So we decide we will have a number of activities to also kind of feature the work of the Youth Development Division, which has been in existence for 41 years. The Dominica Youth Business Trust has been there for the past decade, and so we want together look at the impact that we've been having on the lives of the young people in Dominica. On Sunday, the week will open with a youth mass, and our main celebrant will be Father Branca John, Breaks John, who is also a young man, and that mass will take place in Fatima in Newton, and where basically young people will, the best way to start a week is to give reverence to God and to thank God for the many mercies and that He shower us with, and we start with the youth mass, and then this will be followed by a cricket game in the afternoon that will involve the young people and the cabinet on Sunday. The week will be officially declared open by the Minister for Culture, Youth and Sports, that's Mrs. Justina Charles, and that will be aired on Monday. And on Monday also we'll have a very important program at the Roseau Youth Center, which we call the Life Skills Youth Center program, where we have a number of young people who are engaging in a variety of skills. This is slightly different from the Youth Skills Training Program. It's a program that is based at the Youth Center, and is a program where it's targeting at-risk youth. And some of the young people are young people who are, who've been with problem with the law, and who have behavioral problems. And these are young people we are working with, and it's an opportunity to celebrate the achievements of these young people and to highlight the positive side of these young people. And later in the afternoon, the Monday, we will go to Granby, where we will engage in a consultation with the young people from the Southern District, where we will discuss employment issues. What it is that the young people want to do, what are the challenges young people are facing. As you know, the issue of unemployment among the young people, it is not unique to Dominica. It is a global problem. And so we want to see how, from a district standpoint, and it is actually a continuation of the work that we've been doing with young people in terms of the consultation, meeting young people throughout the country. We have had 3 previous consultations in Cassie Bruce, in Portsmouth, and the Roseau area. So we are continuing with the consultations, because what we want to do is that when we decide on a series of skill development programs for young people, that it is not what we think that the young people want, but it is coming from them that they are saying, these are the areas that we are interested in, and these are the areas that we think that we can make a contribution to the social and economic development of the country. So we consult with them, and so what comes out from the consultation, we take it into consideration when we are planning for the young people of Dominica.
The National Youth Council of Dominica is also part of the observation of Youth Week, as they work closely with the Dominica Youth Business Trust. This is the very first time that Youth Week and Global Entrepreneurship Week will be celebrated together.
And I think it is important because Global Entrepreneurship Week focuses more on the contributions that young people are making worldwide to small business development. And we've said that 90% of businesses around the world are considered to be small businesses, and they're having significant impact on the socio-economic development of not only developing countries, but also even the developed countries. And if you listen to President Obama, that he talks so much about the impact, the economic impact that the small businesses are having, in big countries like America. So we ourselves, who are smaller in and developing states, that small business is playing even a bigger economic role in the development of this country. So therefore, bringing these two major activities together is a strategic move, and based on, we will evaluate it at the end of the week, and we will look and see how the activities went. And if we think that is a good idea, we may adopt it, on an annual basis, that we celebrate Youth Week and Global Entrepreneurship Week together, because we have a number of young people who are not involved in small business, but they are also involved in other aspects of social and economic development of the country. Whereas if you have Global Entrepreneurship Week alone, we would be highlighting the young people involved in business.
With Youth Week and Global Entrepreneurship Week combined, it also highlights other aspects of the youth involvement in Dominica. Other activities of the Youth Week will include a Youth Entrepreneurship Symposium on Creative Arts and Music on November 19th, and a 4th Choral Speech and Public Speaking National Competition on November 20th. The Youth Development Division and the Dominica Youth Business Trust will also host their graduation and award ceremony on November 20th. And in court news, Brian Francis of Salisbury, who appealed a magistrate sentence for theft at the Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal, said although he was satisfied with the sentence, he was seeking clarity for what he considers injustice. On June 18, 2011, Francis broke into HHV Church and stole a quantity of liquor. 2 days after, he returned and committed the same offense, but this time he was captured on the security camera. He was sentenced to 30 months in prison, 18 months on the first count of theft, and 12 months on the second count. He has 15 previous convictions of theft. Francis told the Justices of Appeal during their sitting in Dominica that after the magistrate handed down the sentence, he was called back into court and informed that his sentence would be reduced by 8 months for good behavior. According to him, sometime after, he was summoned to the prison's office and told that the magistrate had made a mistake and he would in fact have to serve the initial 30-month sentence. The sentence was good and I am learning a lot of skills, but I believe the law of the land and I am just seeking some answers. Before the sentencing in the lower court, the magistrate told Francis he had enough chances and needed to be put away. In more court news, Ian Matthew Shillingford, who believed the sentence he had received in the magistrate court was too harsh, had his appeal dismissed when he appeared before the Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal during their Dominica sitting. Shillingford is currently serving a 4-year sentence for an offense carrying a maximum of 7 years imprisonment. In 2011, Shillingford stole a number of personal items from a family member valued at $9,600, and over $7,000 worth of these items had not been recovered. The Justices of Appeal noted that after several previous convictions and opportunities to reform, the magistrate imposed the sentence to serve as a deterrent. Shillingford, however, was of the view that he would have only received 3 years because he cooperated with the police. His appeal was dismissed and the sentence was affirmed, since the Justices of Appeal were of the view that the sentence was appropriate. Meanwhile, Erickson Sampson had his appeal against his sentence varied. He received a 2-year sentence for wounding and 3 years for theft. Sampson had broken into a medical school and stole a number of items. The sentences were ordered to run consecutively. However, the Justices of Appeal said since the offenses occurred from the same incident, they should run together. the 2-year sentence was reduced to 18 months. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.